Well, hello, good afternoon and welcome to BBRC Britain and English. Well, today, in a brief session, we're going to have a look at the banknotes in the United Kingdom. Now, we've seen lots of changes over the last few years and I will go into that shortly. Now, we've had a few changes to the sessions over the last month or two due to the summer recess, and then we've had the sudden death of our Queen, very sadly. So there's been a few changes with everything, with broadcasters and other events and cancellations, etc. But today, I'm going to talk about banknotes. In a future session, I may talk about the very popular and lucrative British chocolate and sweet market, otherwise known as confectionery. Most of you heard of Rowntree's, Bassett's, Cadbury's, Maynard's and a few others there, Macintosh. And a lot of these companies have been very popular over the years with innovation in the sweet market. Well, today, as I say, I'm going to talk about banknotes. Now, I did allude to this a while ago, but it was quite brief. But now I'd like to say there's been some changes in the last, certainly in the last, well, 2 or 3 weeks, because this note has been withdrawn. It's the existing £20 note. They all were changed to Polymer, I think, for 2020. There was a Polymer version released. Now this is the old one. This is not actually a screwed up one. They've probably been one of the last ones to be released because it's not even screwed up. I found it in an old wallet. And you've got on the back of there Adam Smith, 1726 to 90. There we are. Gives the Economist. Well, the old £5 note was the first to be changed over to Polymer in, would you believe, 2016. Some people think it's about 3 or 4 years, but it was actually exactly 2016. This is the old £5 note. Now, the first country actually to change over to Polymer was, I think, something else. I think it was one of the notes in Australia in 1988, so a very long time ago. So it's nothing new in technology. It's more plastic, and certainly they are more long-lasting and perhaps don't screw up so much, because as you know, these are the most common used note. I mean, dead easy to screw up, really. That's obviously a used one here. Now the other thing which you've no doubt noticed, by the way, on the back of that we have Elizabeth Fry, 1780 to 1845. And you may remember we had, anybody who lives in the country will know, Winston Churchill on the previous note and various other people over the years. But those from abroad may not know that, but certainly do take note, as they say. Well, anyway, you may have, more importantly, well, certainly the important people, but more important to the actual detail of the notes, you will no doubt recognise that that's the Queen on the notes. Now, mercifully, they're not going to take the Queen off the notes at the moment, but obviously, ultimately, Prince Charles will be on the notes, but he will be the other way around, so the face will be the other way around, as is custom, so it's always the opposite way to the previous monarch. So looking at all these notes here, you can tell I've got a selection here of 20s, 10s and 5s. Now they're all about to be disposed of. Well, actually they won't be disposed of in any rubbish or any other way like that. They will go to the bank, and certainly my bank told me they'll go to Bristol, and I presume then they will be recycled, but that's all the old paper note. So there, we're just to recap on these notes. So that's the old £5 notes with Elizabeth Fry. Got a pile of those here. Some haven't hardly been used. I've got an array of £10 notes here, and on the back of there we have Charles Darwin, 1809 to 1882. I'm trying to show these better. They're not always easy with the light, so I might have to take a photograph and put it on the end of the broadcast, and obviously Her Majesty the Majesty the Queen on the other side, and a load more. Now you may have noticed these notes are the same as the new ones. The £5 note is more green. The £10 note is more orange in colour, and the £20 note is more of a purple appearance. So this is to distinguish them and to save complications and confusion with older people and those with sight problems or anything else, to ensure that they realise which notes they are actually handling. So there's a rather crisp £20 note with Adam Smith on the back. And the Dear Queen on the other side. So now these are all about ready to go. Can't use them anymore because as from 30th of September, so not that long ago, these were withdrawn. So I can't use these £20 notes, but they were left. You could use them quite a long time, actually. Probably because of the pandemic and everything else. Next time, as I say, we will be talking about confectionery. I'm sure a lot of you have had British chocolate. You know of Mars bars, Twix bars, Cadbury's chocolate. You've probably heard of fruit pastels, fruit gums, opal fruits, all those things that all originate here. Sadly, some of the companies have now been taken over, and they're also, a lot of them from up north, certainly with Roundtree of York and Bassett's of Sheffield. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it was handy for you. I will just now show you some of the later notes. To clarify, there's a £5 note, a £10 note, a £20 note, and there is a £50 note. But you won't often see those in change from the supermarket, and you won't get many of them in the bank either. The current notes, that's the Polymer £5 note. That's Winston Churchill, former Prime Minister. They're all plastic as well, so they do last longer. The £10 note, current £10 note, the Polymer £10 note, which came out a couple of years after the £5 note. And on the back of that one, we do have Jane Austen. That's just Jane Austen on the back of there, and they're writing such small writing. Jane Austen on the back of there. Not easy to read, very small type, side printed type there. New £20 note is here. And that has on the back, not that I get many of these, Joseph Turner, I believe it is there. But now, these notes get smaller every time. So, and the way I notice it is, those two are the same size. That's the old £10 note, the new £20 note. They're the same size, which suggests that they're going smaller all the time. So ultimately the 10 will be the same as the £5 note, and 20 the same as the current 10, things like that. So they're getting smaller, so they'll be like business card size at some point. Unfortunately, they are of course devaluing. But that's the current notes. They do sound different to the old notes. Gotta be a little bit careful because sometimes they can be dropped as well, slip out or slide out. Anyway, that's it for today. Now you've seen the British notes, British sterling, pounds that we use here, not to be confused with anything else. Certainly not euros, and that was a big political football about 20 years ago. People did not want to go over to the euro. Well, thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye now.